All right, let's see how this works. I think he's doing the yeah. Oh. Ah, that's how we do that. All right, let's just take a quick peek and see how we sound. Okay, cool. Right, and good latency also, so that's good. Well, we'll see if we get any viewers come in, but I'm just going to do a quick late night stream. If this video is on YouTube, meaning you can watch it back or you're watching it back right now, then that means that it was an interesting enough stream for me to obviously upload. But if not, then obviously this won't be on YouTube. But I just want to do a quick live stream tonight, just to do a stream because I never do live streams anymore, and I want to do a little discussionary topic. So if you guys have any questions about anything in the Philippines, anything about Southeast Asia, just anything of that nature, feel free to comment, ask questions, and more than happy to have good dialogue with you guys. So also, this is the first time in a long time I've used StreamYard. Um, I don't know what the uh, I don't know what the limitations are in terms of what I can do on here. Like if there's any maximum stream time, I have no idea. So hopefully it'll just let me stream as long as I want. But yeah, anyways, if you guys are also watching this, I did upload a video a while back about the earthquakes that have happened here in the Philippines over the last couple of weeks now, and definitely has been a journey for sure. It's been an adventure experiencing all these earthquakes. Obviously, I had even just last night there was another aftershock from the Bogo City earthquake, and even here in Bacolod, we did feel it. So it has been intense, to say the least. We have definitely experienced a lot of aftershocks, excuse me, now from these earthquakes. So it's been a hell of a journey with that, to say the least. But yeah, gonna just wait a couple of minutes here, see if anyone tunes in. Like I said, if anyone's in the chat, if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. More than happy to answer any questions for you guys tonight, and test out my um, StreamYard, make sure it's working. I know I don't do enough live streams, so I should do more, but this is kind of just a hey, I'm live. I want to just show everybody that I'm doing a bit of a stream. So, but it's almost 10 p.m. Here in the Philippines, so it's already about my bedtime. And I know I'm saying that at 30 years old, but I don't know. After almost 2 years living here, I'm already starting to feel old. Uh, it's kind of like, I don't have a huge structure day to day plan of everything I'm going to do. So I'm kind of just in some kind of auto mode, I suppose, just kind of living my day to day. But yeah, anyone who's tuning into the stream, like I said, if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm more than happy to answer and kind of go from there. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done a live stream. And in fact, I'm trying to think when the last live was that I did. Oh, it's only been a month. Okay. It's only been a month ago. I did a 1 hour live stream. But yeah, it's been a little while. And then the one before that was 6 months ago. Wow. No kidding. 6 months. Wow. Oh man. And then before that was 5 years. Wow, really incredible. Really incredible how long ago that was. 5 years, and 6 years. Life, you know what? Life is just going by too quick. I need life to just kind of put itself on some brakes. Um, Slow down a little bit, man, because it's going by a little too quick for my liking. I don't like that. We need life to slow down just a little bit. Wow, it's going by a little too quick. And just 6 years. I mean, I've been traveling for more than that, technically over 10 years now, 11, almost 11 years at this point. I've been traveling technically. I mean, because I first went to Australia in late 2014, but had a big hiatus of international travel because I was in a relationship at that time for almost excuse me, almost 4 years. And then after that, when I went to Vietnam, that was kind of my first expat experience. And ever since then, I was just hooked to it. But I still never had a continuous expat or travel mode experience because Vietnam was very temporary. I came back to the US, COVID happened, another 2, 3 years. But yeah, since Peru happened, went back, was in the military, got back. And then pretty much since then, I haven't been back in the US. I've been between Peru and now here in the Philippines. But I don't think I can see myself living in another country right now. And I know never say never, but I do see the Philippines as kind of being a more anchored down home for at least the foreseeable future. I just turned 30, just a few days ago. So I think for me, I think that I'd like to spend my second youth, as some people call it, I suppose, um, in Southeast Asia for the most part. I could see myself traveling more around, first of all, around the Philippines for sure. Since I'm already here in the Philippines, I will do more travel around the islands here. At least hit every major island. For sure, Mindanao is an island I really do want to explore. I would like to get a motorbike. I'm just scared of the potential crashing on a motorbike. I know that everything's a risk, but that risk is a lot higher when you're driving one of those motorbikes up and down the streets and highways, obviously. So I don't know. I have no idea if that's something I want to do or not yet. I'm really contemplating whether or not that's going to be a good idea. But at the very least, for sure, I do want to take the opportunity to travel around uh, by bus and see each city. I try to do that in most islands I go to. Cebu has some pretty nice little provincial towns. I've went through, I mean, most of the eastern part of the islands and the western part a little bit. I obviously I've been to Moalboal. I went south of there to Badian, where my ex is from. I've been south of Cebu City, Talisay, in Naga City, Cardcar. I don't think I went any further south than that. I know that um, Oslo is further south, I believe, and then obviously I've went further north, such as Danao, Carmen, Bogo City, which was rocked by the big earthquake 2 weeks ago. Really crazy too. I went to the McDonald's that's there, and yeah, that was completely just leveled by the earthquake, and it's crazy to think I was standing in the McDonald's that was essentially destroyed by it. So really crazy to think about that. Uh, but yeah, that's the extent of my travel there, and then obviously between here and Negros, been to Cadiz, Cambancalan, and then just here in Bacolod, and did a little bit of that in Bohol. I went to Ubay. in the north, obviously in Tagbilaran and Panglao, Alona Beach. So a little bit of travel between every island, essentially. So that's kind of what I've done. But anyways, if anyone's tuning into the stream just now, if you guys have any questions, anything you want to bring up, feel free to let me know. I want to try to have some dialogue in this stream because if I think that if I don't really have much, I'll probably just delete this VOD after. But it's also a surprise stream, obviously. I did not announce that I was doing this live stream. This was just kind of I put it out there immediately, so I just went live out of the blue. Um, Brilliant Minds. There we go. Someone finally joined the stream. Are you in the Philippines now? I am, in fact, in the Philippines, my friend. I am here in Bacolod, here in Negros Occidental. So I've been here for, God, almost 2 months in Bacolod. I've been in the Philippines almost 2 years, but I've been here in Bacolod about a month and a half. And before here, I was living in Cebu City the entire time until just a month and a half ago. And I have to say, it's really nice getting out of the hustle and bustle of Cebu City after spending so much time there and then coming here. I think that Cebu City is a great option. For, as I've said, a soft landing, meaning that it's kind of your first experience to the Philippines. You get that big city feel and more of a Western connection, more international flight options, maybe more Western food options. But it kind of introduces you more slowly into the Filipino culture without throwing you into just, the middle of the province or villages or, the unfamiliar territory. But kind of once you get used to the initial bigger city culture, I guess you could say, of, say, Manila or Cebu City, I think that places like here in Bacolod or maybe Iloilo, or if you want to go to Mindanao, like Davao City, which is a big city also, but very different from, I think, the international vibe that you get of Cebu City and Manila. But again, just kind of a smaller sub city of the bigger ones. That is kind of where I'm at now. After again a year and a half of being in Cebu City, it's been really nice transitioning into a little bit more of a local vibe or a local culture. So that's my suggestion for a lot of people. Some people fall in love with Cebu City and they just stay there. I mean, there's people who have been in Cebu City for years and they prefer it. I think the traffic in Cebu City has just really turned me off from the city over time. I even just going back there a week ago, I went there for 6 nights, and my God, I think one of the times I was going to go out somewhere, I thought maybe it'll take me a little, there was a little bit of traffic, and I thought it might only take me a few extra minutes to get there, but it took me 30 minutes just to get a grab taxi. And then it was a long time to get there. The traffic really held us back a lot longer than I expected. So that's something I don't miss about Cebu City. I don't miss the traffic because if you're trying to make plans or you want to go out somewhere, especially near rush hour, forget it. I mean, it's you might as well just make sure you have the next 3 4 hours open and not have any exact plan or time that you're going to meet someone or do something, because the traffic is just so unexpected there in Cebu City. But here in Bacolod, you can meet someone or make plans to go somewhere at a certain time. And the grab taxis are here within 2 or 3 minutes after you hit order. I mean, it really is that quick. So that's the advantage of being in secondary cities outside of the major ones like Manila or Cebu City, like I said before. Just something that I've really started to appreciate the more I've stayed here in Bacolod now. And then a brilliant mind asks, any regret in moving in the Philippines? No, I have no regrets at all. This has been my favorite country I've lived in out of, three countries I've lived in, or excuse me, out of the countries I've traveled to anyways and lived in. I think the Philippines has given me a lot of things to be appreciative for in my own life. Um, but also I do I mean, I can't not fall in love with this country. The people are so friendly here. Being able to utilize English here has been something I've talked about a lot of why I continue to enjoy being here. Communication is important. I mean, if you're in Vietnam, for example, Vietnamese people are very friendly. I've had great experiences with the Vietnamese. However, it's kind of like, you know, you're lost in a crowd, a sea of people because everyone around you is speaking a completely different language, and like 95% of them are not going to be able to communicate with you unless you have Google Translate or something. I mean, it's really about as foreign as it gets. I kind of like that though. I do like going to foreign countries where everybody is not speaking English. Everyone's speaking a completely different language. I like the challenge of trying to communicate with people. But yes, it is a lot better in general to have more familiar territory when it comes to communication, using English with other people, and they can communicate with you. Mind you, different fluencies. Obviously, in the Philippines, you're going to have people who speak really great English and people who speak pretty much no English at all. You do have a big uh what is it? A big scale of variations of fluencies in the English language. But in general, being able to use English here as it's the second official language of the country is very helpful. And so that, and again, just the hospitality, the friendliness of the Filipinos has given me a lot of appreciation for my life, the way I lived my life in the US compared to here. It's really given me appreciation for everything that I complained about back in the States. And again, just I don't know. I think that the Filipinos have just made me a more easygoing person, which seems strange to say that, but when people are, greeting you every day saying, "Good afternoon, sir. How are you, sir?" Right. And just genuinely being nice. I mean, you don't hear that back in the States. I don't know. I think that it's just made me really happy to be here. And mind you, yes, there is problems in the Philippines. Some people have been absolutely tested to their levels of patience. As I've mentioned many times before, if you don't have a sense of patience, the Philippines is a very difficult country to live in. I mean, it's really going to test your patience. There's going to be things that just don't work, even though it's pretty obvious it should be working the way that it should be, but things aren't going to be as they should be, if that makes any sense to you guys. Things are just going to happen and you just have to accept it. And if you don't, then it's going to be really hard to adjust to the culture here, as I've said before. Obviously, political issues in the Philippines, corruption, of course, all that stuff occurs here. In general, that doesn't really affect us as foreigners living here, especially if you're making US dollars. You have a pretty decent salary being here. You have consistent month to month income. You really don't have to be a victim of any of that. Of those issues. So you're kind of just living your life on easy mode here. Obviously, to the locals, I my heart goes out to the locals here because that really sucks. That it's really hard to make anything of yourself in this country because of the way that the government is set up and the corruption that exists. And, so you have the OFWs, people who are working overseas because they can't make it here in this country. And then the government profits on the taxes of the OFWs. So the Filipino government kind of pushes more of their own citizens to go work abroad because they're getting more money from the taxes they make living abroad. So it's just kind of this repeating cycle, and I think it's just getting worse and worse. And then obviously the BPO industry, call centers, you have now AI taking over, and that's a huge industry here in the Philippines. And so I think in the next few years, that's going to affect a lot of people. Yeah, there's all those problems. But again, for me personally, and as a foreigner living here, the positives have outweighed the negatives because I don't have to be directly involved with those issues, the things that are plaguing the Filipino citizens themselves. That, and obviously, the ease of the tourist visa here has kept me here longer, obviously. So, yeah, great question though. I know I think that was a long answer, but I appreciate the question. And then, how do you compare Xmas and New Year celebrations in the Philippines and to other countries you lived in? That's a good question, brilliant mind. I think for me, uh, I think Christmas. And by the way, I've spent Christmas now in well, only two countries, I guess. I didn't spend Christmas in Vietnam. I did leave in November or late November. But here in the Philippines, it doesn't really feel like Christmas, or it doesn't really feel like New Year. It really, especially Christmas, it really doesn't feel like Christmas here because, first of all, it's just tropical beach weather all year. So it just kind of feels weird, calling it Christmas because you expect the seasonal changes, right, that you get back in the US, even though I'm from Southwest Florida. So it's almost exactly the same thing, but I have lived in northern states during most of my childhood and teenage years, so I know what it's like to go through the seasonal changes and Christmas and the holidays and New Year's. It definitely feels very different, when you're just living in a place that the weather is the same all the time. Now, in terms of the culture, right, and traditionality of the holidays, Christmas here is celebrated, definitely much closer to what it's like in the West, although obviously you're gonna have different influences, like food is obviously gonna be different. You're not gonna have the Christmas ham or, all the fixings that you would have back in the States, for example, but, in general, I would say that, uh, Filipino culture is definitely more on the Western side of things, so that includes New Year's too. I mean, New Year's is more or less, in my opinion, celebrated pretty much exactly the same. Although I think here New Year's is definitely more family oriented as well. While back in the U.S., for example, New Year's isn't always with family; it might be with friends or your own family, right? If you have your own family, but here everyone still sticks with their direct family and they do all those big celebrations together. So, I would say for the most part, the US and Philippines do share similarities. I don't remember the food differences though. That's something I didn't really experience too much last year. I'll have to look into that this year though. I'll have to see what the culture is like there. But but yeah, great question as well, my friend. I appreciate that, and it's good to know that my Streamlabs is working pretty well because I haven't used this in a long time, and it's good to be able to use this again. Trying to see actually if I can do this here. I'm trying to bring up something. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm trying to do that. Yeah, brilliant mind. I have a question for you. Are you in the Philippines or where are you from, my friends? Very curious. Is I've and like I said before, I've been here in the Philippines for almost 2 years now. Just crazy to think about that. Oh my God, it's really gone by so quick. But it's been like the greatest time of my life being out here. It really has been. I've had an excellent time living in this country. I could see myself possibly living abroad in another country again, but the visa, as I've said before, is kind of what keeps me in the Philippines, at least anchored here as a home base. Certainly, I will travel, I think, around more Eastern or Southeast Asian countries, but I could still see myself living maybe in Vietnam again. Although I don't like to, I wouldn't like to necessarily live in a place I already lived in before, even though it was very temporary. But I could see myself possibly going back to Vietnam because their visa is pretty easy as well. You could just do visa runs there, which they actually have like literal companies, from my understanding, like van. van. They put you in a van with like other people who are going to renew their visa. They go across the border into Cambodia or Laos, wherever it is, and then they come right back in, and it's like a whole structured organization. So which is cool. I mean, I appreciate that obviously, but yeah, a little bit more of an involved process in the Philippines, which you literally just go to the Bureau of Immigration, you fill out the visa extension, you talk to a BI officer, they may interrogate you for like 2 minutes, but as long as you haven't been a big F up in the country, then they really have no reason to deny your extension. I have heard like no cases of someone being denied just for no reason. Just don't think that's a thing, especially if you're from a Western country like the United States, Canada, Australia. Um, our our presence being here in the country is actually beneficial for tourism by a long shot because it brings a lot more money than the average Filipino obviously is going to bring to their own economy. We spend a lot of money here. I know I do, anyways, and I'm not saying that in a boastful way, but if I'm just one person who's spending the amount of money I am that I'm spending, right? Imagine how many other foreigners, right, in my financial situation or who make more money than I do, help out the economy, right? And especially again in tourism. So I don't see the Philippines government changing the tourist visa process at any point in the future, especially because tourism is down a lot in the Philippines, unfortunately. I mean, I don't remember the exact statistic, but it's down a lot. So I think that if they were to try to change it in a negative way, meaning giving us less time or making it more strict, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, so to speak, So I don't see that happening. And so that's why, for me, again, being anchored down to the Philippines as a home base has made the most sense for me just logistically. But again, I could, and again, I'll never say never because I don't know, but I could see myself possibly going to Vietnam, but I don't think I will any point in the near future, especially because I have a 1 year contract here in Bacolod right now. So I really don't see myself going anywhere. And I really love this condo. I do. I think that the location, the convenience of being connected into the mall has been massive for me personally. So I couldn't see myself just getting up and going. The only two situations in which that would happen, yeah, I think two situations. I'm sure there's maybe some other factor that would cause me to leave early before the end of my contract would be family emergency, which also could include myself. If I have not an immediate medical emergency, I would go to the ER for that. But if for example, if I was diagnosed with cancer or some sucky medical condition, yeah, I would probably go back to the US and spend time there getting that taken care of and make sure that, hey, this is something I can get the proper care for, especially uh if it is something serious like cancer. I would much rather do that back in the US, right? uh or again, yes, if it's like family, something bad happens, obviously yes, I would go back. Or two, I just feel like I can't be here anymore. I'm just like, I just need to get out of here, right? For whatever reason that could happen, whether it's just like I've had a sudden midlife crisis, and I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to be either in Bacolod or in this island or in the Philippines. Then yeah, I'll get up and go. I probably would absolutely ensure that I could get someone else to move in here so I can get my 2 months deposits back because I mean 2 months deposits for me in this place, that was like almost $1,300 US that I spent just getting moved in here. I definitely want that money back. That's not a small chunk of change, I that's something I would like to get back. I think I foregoed my previous deposits in my old place, which was kind of stupid of me. I think I gave up like almost $900, which was stupid. I shouldn't have done that, but I just got out of that place in Cebu City because I was just done with it. But also because Geo, if you guys know Geo on the Go, his friends actually was renting out this place and he was leaving, but he was leaving at the beginning of September. But I was still in the process of, or excuse me, I was still living in my place back in Cebu City. So I had to make an immediate decision. I'm like, I definitely don't want to pay for two places. That would make no sense, obviously. But um, I was like, you know what? When I saw this place in the video that Geo made, I was like, I have to move here. This is a place I got to be, and I'm so happy I did because I pay literally maybe 6,000 pesos more than I did at my studio or my one bedroom um, in Cebu City, but it's literally twice the space, you know. So like for literally less than $100 more, I'm getting twice the space. This is a 65 square meter place, and I'm paying 32,500 pesos. So that's, I don't know, that's like $580. I mean, come on, man. It's a massive place. For me, it's huge. And it's like two studios, and like the wall was taken down and then remodeled, and essentially just one huge one bedroom place. So that's kind of what I got going on. And then two double beds that were put together, and it's essentially a king size bed. So yeah, when I saw all that, and I saw that it was connected into the mall, I was like, I'm moving there immediately. So yeah, I foregoed my deposits in Cebu City, and yeah, I came here, and yeah, it's been great. So yeah, really been enjoying it. Ah, South Luzon. Okay, you're in South Luzon. Brilliant mind. Yeah, I haven't been to Luzon yet, but definitely I will take a trip to Manila at some point in the future. I know everyone's got their own thoughts about Manila, but because I've been in the Philippines almost 2 years, I could see myself going to BGC as a trip. I think that BGC looks really beautiful. I would love to see what they call it the New York City of the Philippines looks like. It looks really nice in videos. I love the big city culture. However, if I thought the traffic in Cebu City was bad, I can't even imagine what it would be like in Manila. And that is exactly why I did not move to Manila. I can't do it. There's no way I'll ever move to Manila. So I think it's good that you're in South Luzon. I think you're getting out of the hustle and bustle of all that chaos. So, what did you do in America? I had a lot of jobs. I had a lot of different I worked in a lot of different job industries, brilliant mind, but my previous line of work was the ESL industry, right? Teaching English online. So that's what I did for, God, about 3 years. I really enjoyed that though, too, because it was kind of an interesting experience living in Southeast Asia or living in Peru as well when I did it, but also getting to meet people from all around the world. So it's about as culturally immersive as you can get because you're living as an expat in another country and you're talking to international students from all over the world. And of course, my students were adults, which was great because I could actually have real conversation about their culture. It wasn't just teaching ABCs and colors, and all this other shit that you got to teach kids. So man, I mean, I've learned so much about countries that I knew nothing about before I started getting into the ESL industry. And, because there's kind of a stereotype about Americans, which does hold true to an extent, especially as I talk to other Americans who've really never been outside of the US, which is kind of the ignorance of international culture and geography. A lot of Americans really don't know much about people from other cultures, outside of maybe their conversations with coworkers or whatever. But I think most Americans just really don't care about culture and other countries so much. I mean, some do, obviously, like myself. I have traveled now to 4 countries. I've talked to students and people from all around the world. I have immense interest, which is why my whole channel's built around it. I couldn't see myself doing anything else with my life. I did gaming before for God about 8, 9 years, and then I realized that's kind of just a waste of time. So traveling has been just it's opened my it's opened my eyes to what the world really has to offer. And I think what's most important in life, which is making experiences uh with the people that you meet, and the conversations you have. I mean, God, one of my most memorable experiences was walking late at night in Hanoi in Vietnam, and there was a off-duty police officer hanging out with some of his family and friends or whatever, and they were like, "Hey, come here, drink a beer with us." And I couldn't speak any Vietnamese whatsoever, but they took out their phone. They're translating Vietnamese to English for me. And I sat there for like 30, 45 minutes sharing a beer with a group of people, and none of us spoke the same language at all. And that is something I'm going to remember at the end of my life. It's not going to be, oh shit, I should have bought that, new car, or should have got that, bigger house or whatever. That's not the stuff I'm going to be remembering when I'm on my deathbed. It's going to be the experiences with the people that I made in my life. And that's exactly why I do what I do. So I hope that some of you guys who are watching this, or um, who are living abroad right now, think the same way as well. I know that there's the whole sexpat, you know, thing, which I'm really not into, to be honest, man. I like talking about dating. I think dating's great or whatever, but there's some YouTube channels that are just really slimy, scummy, just talking about how to have sex with as many girls as you can in, less developed countries or whatever. I'm like, come on, man. That's not why I do what I do. It really isn't. And I don't know. I don't like that people put that at the forefront of their topics, or their theme of their channel. It just seems kind of low, to me anyways. So for me, again, it's really literally just about traveling and just making new experiences. All right. So and just to preface though, I don't mind talking about, you know, things like that, like dating or whatever, but I also don't make it the forefront of like, oh, you got to go to this country if you want to find the best women, or here or there. It's just annoying. And it's why, you get the term passport bro or whatever given to you, because that's something that people just want to talk about all the time. And for me, it just gets old. It really does. I'd much rather talk about much more, um, exciting things like, oh, what beaches or what foods or what experiences can you have on this island or that island or this country. Those are things that are just much more important. But anyways, I don't want to I don't want to go off on a completely different direction, but those are things I think about. TDS, that's an interesting name. Why does that name look so familiar? I don't know why that logo looks familiar, but TDS, I'm paying around $930 for my apartment in the Netherlands. I do have the entire floor to myself. Wow, really? But what's the size of your place though? Because I would assume the Netherlands is quite a lot more expensive, obviously, than anywhere here in Southeast Asia. But 930 and you get a whole floor. Hmm. That's not bad at all. I mean, $930 in the US. I mean, especially if you're in a really expensive state like California, New York, whatever, you're not getting anything for that pretty much. You're going to get a really terrible place probably for $1,000. Even in Florida, where I'm from, my God, it's gotten really expensive now. I mean, ugh, I think like just like a basic one bed apartment now, a minimum is like 15 or 1600 a month. I'm just like, I'm in a place that's massive, like 65 square meters, which I'm not going to find the same size place for, maybe not even 1500 price range in Florida, but here in paying less than $600. I mean, well, I got to look this up actually, because I actually don't know what it is now. 32,500 pesos to US. Yeah, $560, guys. I pay $560 a month. I mean, and by the way, the Philippines is not the cheapest country in Southeast Asia. It's actually one of the more expensive countries, especially if we're comparing it to countries like Vietnam, or Thailand, and certainly Cambodia and Laos, I can imagine, are even less than Vietnam. Thailand has gotten more expensive from what I understand. Obviously, tourism plays a role into that too, but Thailand still gives you, I think, more bang for your buck in general, especially compared to the Philippines. I would say arguably that Thailand is probably a third of the cost, a third of a cost less than the Philippines, and you're probably getting better infrastructure in general. Obviously, you got the small bubbles of places here in the Philippines, like again BGC, Makati area, uh, or in Cebu City, like you have IT Park or Mactan Newtown, which I've been through both of them. Very nice, but still, I mean, these are small bubbles, and I think that a lot of the cities in Thailand, especially in Bangkok, I mean, you just have it's a massive city, and overall, from the videos I've seen, I haven't been there, but the infrastructure just looks more impressive. You can just tell it's a very different city infrastructurally in general. So I don't know. These are things that I think about, anyways, when it comes to getting the most bang for your buck. Um, Now, again, when it comes to the visa situation, there's reasons I still stay here in the Philippines. I can't just retire. I'm not old enough to retire. In terms of the retirement visa process in some of these other countries like Thailand. But certainly visiting. Yeah, I definitely have to go visit Thailand. And from here in Bacolod, I could just take a 1 hour ferry to Iloilo and then direct flight to Bangkok. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and do it at some point in the near future. It's definitely in my plans very soon. So, and TDS says I don't know the exact size, but it's quite big. I do live in a smaller town in the Netherlands, and I rent private. Ah, okay. So maybe that explains it. I have almost no interest whatsoever of going to Europe anytime in the near future. But I would definitely say I have to go to Europe before I die. I do for sure. I think Italy is hands down the number one country I need to go visit. In fact, today I actually was just going to look for some red wines, Italian red wines. I wanted to do a little bit of wine and cheese pairing. I bought a Italian and French red wine, and I'm going to be enjoying those. Maybe even tomorrow, I'll set up like a little cheese platter, cheese and fruit platter with a couple of red wines, just to I don't know, just to pass the time. I don't do anything else with with my time, but yeah, I don't know. I'm always inspired by the freshness of the food and obviously the wine from Italy. Italian food is really a lot more simplified, I think, than how Americans obviously perceive it because we like to just add a bunch of shit to food, like Mexican food. Like when it comes to Mexican food, we just add a bunch of ingredients that aren't even in traditional Mexican food. And then we do the same thing with Italian food, like especially fast Italian food, like Olive Garden. Olive Garden is not representative of what true Italian food is, but yeah, but what I love about Italy is again, it just they have a special culture when it comes to their food, and obviously very beautiful country too. I think the nature and um just everything about the history of Italy is just amazing. So I would love to go there and do some travel around Europe at some point in the future. Obviously, I don't have any immediate plans for that because again, it is more expensive. It's something you got to take some time to save up the money to do that. So that's what I would do. And I commented on a different video before, different video on my channel. Is that what you're talking about? TDS. I'll have to. Oh, maybe you did. Maybe that's what you're talking about because your name looks familiar. That's why. That's why I mentioned that. Maybe yeah, because you commented on one of my videos. I'll have to look. I don't know if you do any videos on your channel, TDS, but I'll have to look. And then you said, I would love to live in Thailand, but the Philippines has a better visa system. That's exactly why I live here. And I've told folks before that if you're thinking about living in Southeast Asia, you need to do your research, right? And visa is the number one thing you need to look at. I think the top three tickets you need to take a look at, ticket items you need to look at is first of all, visa. Well, actually, first thing you need to look at is safety. I would not move to a country that has an easy visa if the safety was at risk. I mean, inherently, your safety is the most important thing. Philippines does have some safety issues, but again, using common sense is kind of, something that you should just have in general, even in your own country. Every country in the world is going to have some form of, crime or danger to some extent, right? I mean, obviously, if you're in a country like Greenland, versus I don't know, Syria, for example. Obviously, you're going to have two completely different levels of crime. One that has virtually no crime, and one where you could just get kidnapped from nowhere, out of nowhere. Um, so safety is number one. Visa is number two. I look at how long can I live in the country before I either need to leave. Can I do a visa run or can I just stay in the country and extend it? And Philippines has given me the absolute best extension uh, option in the world. I mean, I don't know if there's any other country better than the Philippines. There's a couple that are very good to live in long term without having to extend. I think Georgia, the country Georgia, you can stay in for a whole year as an American citizen, anyways. I don't know about Netherlands, but as an American, I could stay in Georgia for a year before I have to leave or extend the visa as a tourist, by the way, which is crazy. And I think Argentina also has the same thing. I'm not 100% sure on that, but very easy to stay in Argentina as a tourist as well. So there's a couple of countries like that, but Philippines for me has still been one of the best. I just go to the Bureau of Immigration every 2 months. Again, there's no deep interrogation from the BI officer. She just asks, "Why are you in the Philippines? Who do you know in the Philippines?" Which it's important if you know somebody here. If you just say, "I don't know anybody, I'm by myself," they're going to raise an eyebrow and they're going to kind of look at you a little closer. Now, are they going to deny you on that? Like it's very unlikely to ever happen. Again, I have never heard of anyone getting denied, their visa extension just because they don't know anybody in the country. Again, if you're just living here, you haven't broken any laws and you're not giving the BI officer an attitude, which is another big one. Do not give them an attitude because then they really will have a reason to say, you know what, I don't like the way you're acting. And they just deny you and you're out of the country. That is something that has happened. And I have heard stories of people getting denied because they gave the Bureau of Immigration officers an attitude. So don't do that. But if you come in, you're respectful, and you know somebody, especially if you're in a relationship or whatever, then yeah, you're pretty much fine. So you don't have to worry about that. But yes, again, when it comes to political corruption, infrastructural issues, testing of your patience, there's all these little things that kind of start building up in the Philippines. And again, it will test your level of patience and it will also, make you rethink certain things, right? Again, in Thailand, as you just said, there is kind of more of a better bang for your buck. And again, we're talking about price of food, the infrastructure. Bangkok also is just a huge city. I would love to visit Bangkok. But yeah, again, living wise, living conditions, that's why visa has to kind of be that number two big ticket item. And then number three, I didn't even mention that, but yeah, number three, I would say is, yeah, the cost of living, right? Which we just discussed, right? You're getting about a third of the cost less in Thailand versus the Philippines. So these are all things to consider. And those are the big ticket items that I would consider: safety, visa, cost of living. After that, all the other things are under your own discretion. I would also say communication is pretty important. Do they speak the same language as you? Right? Can you speak? to the people of that country in English or Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, whatever language you speak? Do you have any sense of familiarity with the culture in terms of your languages? I mean, the best experiences I've ever had traveling were, again, being around people who spoke no English whatsoever. I think that that's given me the best cultural immersion. However, when it comes to the best form of communication, it definitely helps if you can speak the same language as that person. When I lived in Peru, most Peruvians really did not speak English. I had to really force myself to learn Spanish, which I actually fell in love with. I really did enjoy the challenge of learning Spanish, even though my conversational Spanish really didn't get so great. But I was really shocked after about a year and 3 months living in Peru that I challenged myself to actually go from very simple Spanish to actually holding a decent conversation. Mind you, not great, but decent conversation with Spanish natives. And I was actually able to understand what people were saying for the first time ever. Whilst before in the beginning, I just didn't know what anyone was saying. So it really is pretty amazing to see that kind of evolution of cultural immersion and being able to learn the language and actually being able to experience those things over time. That's why, again, I would say some of my best experiences have been just talking to people or trying to talk to people in another language, because that's how I feel that I was able to get the best experiences in that country. But again, as I said, though, in general, being able to communicate in English is obviously the most beneficial, because then I can actually uh, fluently understand what people are talking to me about and get the most information in real time from people without having to pull out the phone, translate, and then, Google Translate mistranslates shit sometimes. So that was just that was kind of annoying to deal with. So I would say, try to learn the language if you can, so that way you can still minimize communication issues. Or again, live in a country where you can speak the same language as them. And Philippines has given me the best overall package, I guess you could say. Being able to use English, but also being in a completely different culture from my own. And yeah, obviously you can make the argument the Philippines and US have some similarities. They share some historical things, but Philippines is really in general completely different from the United States. But I still appreciate my time you know, just living here, and I really just don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon, especially because again of said visa. So that's something that's important. I can highly recommend visiting Italy. Where in Italy have you been, TDS? I'm very curious now, because if you're from the Netherlands, then you've certainly been all around Europe, I'm assuming. So yeah, again, Italy for me is just something I would love to do in the future for sure. It's one of those things that I'm just like, I got to go to Europe and I got to at least travel to a couple of these places before I die. Which hopefully will be far in the future. But uh, I think that it's been so great, kind of just waking up every single day and I'm in a completely different culture, just immersed in something so different from what I've known for my entire life in the United States. I obviously recognize and have discussed many times that I do feel a sense of isolation from family, unfortunately. Not saying in the sense that I don't have a good relationship with my family, but I'm just saying that I'm far away from my family, and it sucks because I wish I could be there more with my family. But I'm trying to find this balance between being with family and also enjoying my life, being abroad and doing things I really want to do with my own life. And I don't know, sometimes I get sad because when I do go visit my family, which is what I have to do, obviously, not have to, I want to, but I'm just saying that when I do visit the United States and I'm with family, every time I go back, it's just like I'm noticing my nephews or nieces or in my family getting older, growing up, and it's kind of almost depressing sometimes. And I would say that's one of the absolute biggest negatives or drawbacks to living abroad. You're enjoying your life, living in another culture, being in a new place, but you're also on the other side of the world. And when you do go back and see your family, everyone's getting old. My dad's getting more gray hair. It does make me sad. It really does. So um, I can't see myself settling back down in the US at any time soon at all. I really just don't plan to go back to the US long term. But yeah, I definitely will take more extended times to go back to the US, I'm sure. Certainly throughout my life, I'll take time to go and maybe live there for extended periods of time. And then either if I get married to someone here in the Philippines, then I can obviously do it back and forth. But if not, if I'm still single, then the world is my oyster, I guess, as they say, right? You can just travel where you want, go when you want. I don't have anything holding me down in my life. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. My two younger sisters, I have three younger sisters, but the two that are married and have kids already, that's what they did with their life. And for me, I just went a completely different direction. And I really don't have any regrets, though, to be honest. I mean, I'm 30 years old, not married, don't have kids. And really, it's just because it's not what I wanted. And I think that's okay. Know what you want in your life and go after it. And I'm happy I did because I could just be stuck in a office or call center or some shitty job back in the US right now and maybe making decent money, I don't know, but what would I be working towards? What would be the direction of my life that I'm trying to take? And what am I trying to achieve? And it would probably be nothing. I think that the quote unquote American dream is kind of dead, in a sense. Yes, you can make a lot of money, but for me, what's the purpose of making all that money? Maybe I can use that money to take a week or 2 week vacation once a year, and then after that, come back and work for another whole year, and that's it. And it's like, is that really what I want to do for the next 40, 50 years? And then maybe if I live to retirement age of 62, 63 years old, then say, you know what, finally I can go live abroad and travel more and do what I want. Well, who knows? By then, maybe I'll have a lot of medical ailments that hold me back from physically being able to go live abroad. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm 30 years old right now. I'm physically able to get up, get on a plane, go travel to a new country. I can go hiking on mountains. I can go travel through forests and jungles, and I can go and do things that I want to do. So, what I do know is if I have the ability to do it now, I should take advantage of that opportunity, especially if I have nothing else holding me back in my life. So that's why money isn't everything for me. If I make enough money where I can still go and travel and do things that I want to do, even if I'm not rich or have the most luxurious experience doing it, who cares? If I'm able to go make experiences in my life, that's what I should be doing. And I am doing that. So, yeah, 30 years old, being able to do what I'm doing in my life, no regrets whatsoever. Only regret is I wish I could spend more time with my family. So that's been the only huge main negative consequence of being an expat living abroad in other countries, for sure. So I know that was a really a long drawn out answer again, but this will be good for the video after too, because maybe some folks who want to come back to this video and who are watching, if any of you guys are watching the video right now, hopefully this kind of gives you some things to think about for your own life or things you want to do in the future. Tomorrow is not promised. Take advantage of the things you can do right now. If you can physically get up and go and travel or make new experiences, do it. Don't wait. Do not wait. That I can't emphasize that enough. I really can't. So, I did a train trip around Italy with a friend back in 2021. We went to multiple cities, including Venice. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, that is exactly what I want to do, my friend. I want to be able to just get on a train in Europe, do these kind of multi-country trips, or because I think the train goes through like you can go through different countries in Europe, right? It's like one of those long distance trains or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but that is exactly what I want to do when I visit Europe, because I will do it at some point in my life. I don't have any immediate plans to do so. I think I really want to take the time to travel around all over Southeast Asia first. That's something I really want to do. I want to be able to take time, travel around the Philippines first, obviously, then take some time, maybe go back to Vietnam, take some time to also go to Cambodia, Thailand, just kind of use my passport to actually take advantage of the fact that I have an American passport and I can go to these countries. I can stay in these countries for like 3 4 months at a time and just go around and see what life is like there. And even East Asia, I would love to go to Japan, possibly South Korea at some point further on, but I don't have any immediate plans for South Korea. But Taiwan, even, I think Taiwan would actually be a really interesting experience being able to hear Mandarin, or excuse me, no, do they use Cantonese in Taiwan, right? Or is it? I don't remember. Does Taiwan use Cantonese or Mandarin? I can't remember. Oh, Mandarin. Okay, excuse me. They use Mandarin, but they use traditional Chinese writing in Taiwan. Yeah, traditional Chinese writing in Taiwan. I do remember that. But yeah, those are things that I really want to do. I just want to be in a completely different, immersed culture, and I think that Taiwan would be an excellent choice. I really do. I think Taiwan would be really cool to go see, and I don't know. Um, just go explore something new. And I think that again, I'm so young now that my next 10 years of my life in my 30s, uh, you know, provided I don't have a kid or get married or whatever. I mean, if I get married, that's okay. I don't think that's going to hold me back from traveling because I could just bring her along with on the journey. But having kids, that would definitely put a huge stop in my immediate travels. But um, I think the plan, right? Because again, tomorrow is never promised. You don't even know what's going to happen the next day, let alone the next 10 years. But my plan would be in my 30s to travel to as many countries as I can. I don't want to look back and regret anything I've done in my 30s because even just turning 30 years old, which is still young, obviously, has made me think a lot about what I've done up until now. So I'm going to definitely take advantage as much as I can in these next 10 years to go and travel more and do more. So that's what I'm going to do. So you could do something called Interrail in Europe. Okay. I will take a look at that, my friend. I appreciate that. Uh, yeah, Interrail. Okay. Wow. 33 countries with one rail pass. That'll definitely fill up your passport, to say the least. That'll definitely fill it up. Oh, I can actually go to your channel just by clicking on this. Well, TD, you have 33,000 subscribers, my friends. Did you make videos? Because it says you don't have any videos on your channel. What's going on with that? You got 33K subscribers. Do you private all your stuff? See, that's a lot of subscribers, my friend. Yeah, but that's what I'll do though. I will definitely I will definitely go travel for sure. Europe, God, maybe I should go to Europe, at least in this decade, for sure. Europe has really changed a lot, though. Unfortunately, I was watching a couple of Kurt Koz's videos, actually. If you know who Kurt Koz is, and he just kind of makes kind of unfiltered videos of going to the slums of really poor countries or visiting. the negative sides of countries. And I mean, it's really fascinating too. You get to see how what the reality is like in some of these places. But God, he did a video in Italy and in France as well, like Paris specifically, and just the scammers and the illegal immigrants and all this shit going on. Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see what Europe is starting to become. I don't know about Netherlands, but yeah, it's really unfortunate to see the things that are going on right now. But yeah, I hope that that doesn't start getting worse in the next 10 years, but I have no idea. We're gonna have to see. I used to make videos, but I privated my videos after I got demonetized. But why would you do okay, but why would you private them? You couldn't just keep them up and stay demonetized? Or I mean, that still sucks either way that that happened to you. But what videos did you make, TDS? I'm kind of curious what kind of stuff you did. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't get off, probably. She's the girl I'm talking to, she's going to bed here in a few minutes, so I probably need to end my stream here. But yeah, that's very interesting though. Yeah, 33,000 subscribers. I mean, your name looks familiar too, not just because you commented on my video, but maybe I've watched your videos before. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. In fact, I think I'm very close to being able to get monetized on YouTube, but I, I don't know. I probably wouldn't make really any money off of my videos. I don't really upload consistently enough to warrant any kind of consistent revenue. I don't think I would make much money at all, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, I'm not really sure. And to be honest, also, um I don't have like a really consistent theme on my channel because I make a mixture of different styles of videos, whether it's voiceover commentary style videos about a discussionary topic or informational video, or a vlog. To be honest, I really like doing vlogs the most, although it takes the most effort, both just being out in public and having a camera on my face, which I've done it so many times now, but it's still never easy to not think about in the back of your head what other people are thinking about you as they're staring at you as you're walking by. But also the pauses and trying to think about what I'm saying, which thank God we have editing tools so we can just cut those parts out. But it's kind of awkward in public because you're talking and then you're not talking for a few seconds and you're still walking and then you put the camera back up. It's just the little things like that. Um, but then the editing in general, the editing takes more effort as well, uh for vlogs. And what I've noticed on my channel is that the vlogs actually get less views in general, or most of the time get less views in general than like interview style videos or the voiceover commentary style videos. So what I'm suspecting is that maybe there's a larger demographic of viewers, which I realize after looking at the demographics of ages on my channel. I have more people in their 40s and up watching my videos. So I'm starting to think that a lot of these people maybe put on my videos in the morning. Maybe they're having a morning cup of coffee, which I do pretty much every morning, but I think they're doing it more as like an audio listening thing. They're just putting the video on in the background while they're cooking or drinking some coffee or whatever, and that's probably how they're watching my videos. So maybe that's kind of a more consistent theme that's getting more traction on my channel. So I don't know if that's what I need to focus on, uh but to be honest, in general, I still just make videos based on the things I'm personally interested in. I don't think that I have to necessarily appeal to the masses of my channel just to satisfy my own growth or to grow my channel. If I feel like making a commentary video, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to do a vlog, then that's what I'm going to do. I think in general, though, where I would like to see my channel start to go more towards in the future, at least directionally speaking, is maybe more vlog style. I think that's kind of what I want my channel to become. But but finding subject matter for vlog style videos and how I want to push that in my channel and how I want that direction to go. Those are all things that I have to put a lot of thought into and uh am I going to feel happy with the end result of that video? Because there's a couple videos probably on my channel right now where if I watched them right now I would think, man, this is probably not a video I would really care about so much, or or I would also ask myself, why did I make that video? Looking back at it now. So just all those things, those are the things I think about for my YouTube, right? So I don't know the future of my channel. I have no idea where I'm going to take it. I think doing stuff like this, like live streams, are kind of fun for me. I have no consistency of live streams or even my YouTube videos in general. So I need to find a way to make a schedule and actually stay more consistent with it. But again, it takes thought and planning on what the subject matter of the video is going to be and how I'm going to execute it video wise. So yeah, just things to think about. Yes, Jeffrey. Hello, my friends. Hello, how are you? You're late today, my friend. You're always the first one usually, but no, I'm just kidding. But hope you're well, my friend, and I appreciate you. I'm actually about to end my stream here in just a minute. If anyone who's watching the stream, if you guys have any last minute questions or anything you want to put into the chat, feel free to let me know. This is again my first time in a long time I'm using StreamYard, which has been really great because I could put your guys' names right here on the stream on the big screen. So it's really great. Um, and anyone who's watching the video as well later on, if anyone has any questions, you want to leave it in the comments below. I think I'll put the replay on my channel just since we actually got some people coming in and commenting, which has been great. So I'm good. How are you? I'm doing very well, my friend. Everything's been good. I've got a bit of a headache today, so I'm about to head to bed here in just a few minutes. But I really wanted to get back on and do do a bit of a live stream. It's been a while since I've done it, so it's been great kind of getting back on here. And this is the most enjoyment I get usually is talking to the people who support my channel and being able to talk to you guys in real time. Because usually it's just you comment on my video, and then a few hours later, if I'm asleep and I wake up and I'm on YouTube and I see it, then I'll reply to it in a comment. But being able to actually talk to you guys in real time, it gets, there's a lot more satisfaction that comes from that. So, okay, take care, my friend. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm going to get off right now. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching the live stream today. I didn't think I was even going to be putting this on YouTube, but it's been good that there was at least 3 or 4 people who commented today and been able to create some good form of discussion. But yeah, if you guys are watching the video after the fact, or if you watch the whole video on replay or whatever the replay of the video, feel free to leave a like as well, and feel free to leave any comments if you had anything you wanted to bring up from this live or any questions you have. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next live stream very soon. Have a good day, everybody.